ambassadors in Nigeria all over the place. But anyway, that's what I knew. Flamboyant pastor, he has great whatever. And you know I've been arrested by a pastor, and I know how that feels. Coming from this angle, we're women. I'm a feminist. I fought for gender equality. The Senate spoke to me on Twitter. I know how it is. I love women. I'm a woman. And I don't have a daughter, but I have 3 sons. The way I came on this story was I have to be very sensitive. Rape is a very sensitive issue, okay? I have been fondled, okay, and I've been stripped naked on Ikorodu Road during the Ali Moscow, but I wasn't raped. So I know how it is with sexual violence. I heard Busola's story. I listened to her interview a total of 35 times, and I said, I have to do this story. Google, Facebook, I'm a creator in all those places. That's how I make my money, okay? Nobody pays me. You cannot bribe me. Investigative journalism is investigative journalism. So what I did was I analyzed the story. I looked at what Chude did. Chude is very intelligent. This is the kid that started at NTA at 15, and he interviewed a sitting president, Jonathan. However, Chude did not do some things right in that interview, okay? Angles from Busola's story, there were elements of lies. The first element of lie in Busola's story, there was no timeline in that entire interview. Did you guys notice that at all? I always say, oh, focus on the bigger picture. Always focus on the bigger picture. There was no timeline in that interview. When I say timeline, people mock me on the internet, they laugh. I'm Kemi Olunoyo, live from Ibadan, Nigeria, time, date. She never said a date or time. She just told a story. So that was the first thing I said. There's no timeline in this interview. So now the whole social media, the court of social media, judge and jury of social media have said, oh, 1999, 2002, baby wasn't born, there was no Mercedes, blah, blah, blah. That's where we have a problem now. Here's a pastor, a man of God, a man of power, easily can be defamed by a woman.
When I hear you say investigative journalism, I would expect that
First step.
You either spoke with one of the witnesses she outlined, which was the brother who confronted the wife, you know, or, you know, verified for a fact that that child has a birth certificate dated so and so, which is not corresponding.
The first thing I did when I wanted to start this investigation, I sent a message to Timi Dakolo. Actually, I sent a message to Busola. Hi, Busola, this is Kemi Olunoyo, investigative journalist. I just watched your interview. I'd like to speak to you. I took it, I copied it, I pasted it. Timi, I just sent this to your wife with my phone number, my personal phone number. The next day, my phone number was online. Timi Dakolo released my DM in Instagram to the world just to maybe suffer me. I don't know why he did it, but my phone rang 585 times. I took the SIM card, I put it in my son's, it was still ringing. It was not right. You must either confirm or deny or just accept an interview. They did not respond to me. Just because my phone number was out there, I just forgot about it. They were not going to do an interview.
So you reached out to the...
So I reached out to COSA. And you as a lawyer, I contacted COSA lawyers, COSA congregation members, mostly Lagos ones. Abuja people I don't know, but this is how you reach out. You put out a news tip, just like I did with that pastor case of mine. Do you go to COSA? Do you know about this case? Have you seen it in the news? Contact me. My news mailbox, 589 messages. And that's how I started investigating. How do you investigate the other side? I sent a message to COSA lawyers that I wanted to view Biodo Fatoyinbo. But do you know what happened to me? All I saw were people from other churches. They went in front of his church that Sunday. Pastor, step down, placards. And they forced him off the pulpit. I could not interview him anymore.
Were you there?
No. I was watching this online. Okay. I wanted to interview the pastor, but they forced him off the pulpit. They had placards, they had also, he just left.
All right, let me.
And he said it's not, the Lord told him to just, and I couldn't interview him.
All right, ma. So we've had cases where you've called out different people.
Yes.
On social media for their lives. We have a case with the Iyabojo, still ongoing, and some of the things checked out to be lies. We also have, I remember when Linda Keji was pregnant, you called her out severally on her baby.
Linda was never pregnant.
Which was fake.
Linda was never
pregnant.
We've
seen the baby and...
The baby was a surrogate baby.
So people have this notion that you just come out and give false information about people.
They have the notion.
Yes, that you say things that don't check out to be true.
Because we're Nigerians,
so
we don't like the truth.
How do you think now, coming to say that there are holes in Busola's story, that people will believe what you're saying?
Okay, Nigerians don't have to believe what I'm saying. I was trained in the United States, where everything is under the First Amendment of the US Constitution. Our people in Nigeria don't understand press freedom. I can tell Donald Trump now, you're racist, you look like a monkey, even though you're white. They wouldn't arrest me. Donald Trump doesn't care. But in Nigeria, I'll be arrested, I'll be castigated, you know what I mean? Linda Keji was never pregnant. I gave all the proof.
Well,
I had people. This is not what we're talking about on this show. Iyabo Ojo's phone number was linked to whoever sent me what sent me to jail. Truecaller and Instagram. That's why they dropped the case. The judge dropped the case because Instagram said it came from somebody.
Going back to the issue.
I have, let me say this, Mariah. Yeah. Over the weekend, go to my timeline on Instagram. You'll see I did something called journalism case studies. I use Linda, I use Iyabo. You saw it. You have to get ready for this. We can solve cases of herdsmen, everything. I can solve everything. The 233 million in that secret NPC account, I can solve it. Okay, Nigerians have to be ready for me.
When I came here with an open mind, and I said, I'll just listen to you.
Very good.
I read a little of what you said was the discrepancy in her story, which is she couldn't have been 19 because the year she mentioned she would have already been 20, you know. But the thing is that you did not say for certain, your investigation does not say for certain that she wasn't raped.
Marianne, you said something just now that it seems that I haven't really come to a conclusion whether she was raped or not. I have actually done that.
Okay.
You didn't follow me on Twitter. It's on my pinned tweet. Okay. I wrote, apologize, Busola, confess, Busola, apologize. I wrote it like 50 times.
Yeah. So
I've concluded that she was not raped by that pastor. I have actually concluded that, but my investigation hasn't finished.
No, Kemi.
Nothing happened. And I'll have my evidence if you want to hear it.
Please,
very briefly.
You concluded this without even talking to Pastor Imbo?
No. In a newsmaker situation, when you're an investigative journalist, you may not have opportunity to speak to the other newsmaker.
Right.
This is why in America we tell people, if somebody was shot, quickly ask them their name, their phone number, their family, because they might die. You know what I mean? Busola had several holes in the story. You go to the people outside the newsmaker, the family, the friends. And that's the same situation I did with the girl that they said Chude covered.
So have you considered, Kemi, the fact that when somebody goes through something as traumatic as you have, as rape, it takes years. And obviously some of the stories might be fuzzy. You may not get all the details, but what you know for a fact is that it happened and you were raped without your own permission.
A lot of people are raped in America. A lot of people were raped by Bill Cosby, R. Kelly. They came out 40 years later, 20 years later. I'm very well aware.
They got a conviction.
And they got a conviction.
So how impossible is
But
it?
let me now tell you guys where I happened to do this story. The biggest thing in this story, who is investigating this story? You said the star of the story hijacked the story. I'm not here to be a star of the story. You guys should be investigating this. TVC channels, AIT, all of you should be investigating this story. What are your reporters doing? It took an independent journalist, but let me say this. I'm not trying to be the star of the story. I'm an investigative and an independent journalist.
Right.
And what I have seen here, hold on for me 1 second. What I have seen here, okay, it's not adding up. The first thing is there's no timeline. Everybody did the mathematics. She's 36. You subtract that with 16, 1999. I babysat. He raped me in my house. Then he called me to come and babysit his child. Okay, a child that didn't exist in 2002. He raped me on our way there on a car that was not even existing until 2003. That's how you investigate as an investigative journalist. Busola had holes everywhere in her story. And a lot of other things were what people said about her. Oh, I slapped my driver at 10. A sister told me she never did that, was made up. There's more stuff that maybe this show cannot even take.
The whole thing seems to me like people who are already scared of coming out to share that story
are not going to come out now.
Are not going to come out again to share that story. It seems like everybody is trying to put holes in that story, and that will keep them in that trauma for a very long time.
I'll tell you one thing about that.
Should people still come out to share their story, not being afraid that these kind of things will happen?
I want to ask you a question, a counter question to that. Jimmy Dakolo was in a rape campaign in 2015. He said on that campaign, it's on Instagram, I have 2 daughters. If my daughters were raped, I don't know what would happen. I would die. And he knew his wife was raped. Right before that campaign. Why didn't he come out? Why did he use innuendos? Timmy, if you're watching at home, why did you use innuendos? This is a pastor. You could have gone to the pastor, carry a lawyer with you, and then work it out.
I remember you were
went to the
fondled
media
as a child.
I was fondled as a child.
As a child.
It took me 54
And you talked about it.
years.
And how did you feel when people just, said, don't mind her?
She's not telling the truth.
She has PTSD. People came out with all sorts of
We need to
analysis.
go past that. We need to go past that. Everybody can get PTSD.
Now, you're not giving
this
Chude
afternoon.
any credit in this.
No, Chude is not. Chude is the
hold on a
interviewer.
minute. Chude is a lawyer. Chude is a journalist.
Right.
Chude went into journalism as young as 15. He's been in the business for a while. do you think he will break a story that a defamation suit can time down forever, and he will not verify facts? Now, number two, is a person who has been affected by the trauma of life or the experiences of life, like you call it, which is what I would call what Busola has been through.
Right.
Should the person have...
Busola has allegedly been through. We don't know if she's been through it.
Should the person have watertight stories that, you know, facts and events must match, cars and everything must match?
This is the internet age. Nima, this is the internet age. If there was no Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, how would the story come out on the media? We had radio, TV, and
She
newspaper.
sat on an interview and had to recount an experience.
Where would she air that interview?
I didn't expect that thing to have been edited.
It was edited.
It wasn't. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect facts to match. All I wanted to see was a perfection, and I would doubt that story.
Okay. Yes, now, I doubt that story perfectly because social media is used to fuel the story. Listen, you TV guys, if there was no social media, including YouTube, where would Chude air his interview? Nowhere. It'll be panning in the radio, television as news, and newspaper as writing. But because it's social media, the Dakolos use social media to pump their story up. I'm saying to you,
pause for a quick second.
Yeah.
I hear you very clearly, and I understand you. However, I try to make you understand that this is beyond Busola. Whatever it is we're doing this morning is actually beyond Busola.
There's a lot of
young girl out there who is a victim today.
There's 5.
And they need a voice. Now, Timmy, Chude coming out with this interview is helping us have this story as that anchor to help us ensure girls in those shoes get justice.
I understand.
But when an international journalist like Kemi Olunoyo begins to punch holes, it totally defeats the entire
purpose. It's just intimidation that Nigerians think I have. Nima said something just now. Chude is a lawyer and a journalist. Kemi is a pharmacist and a journalist. When it came to a drink, and Busola said the rapist went to the car and bought a drink, a bitter lemon drink, and poured it in her mouth. As a pharmacist, why would a rapist, who could have even laced that with drugs, why would you open your mouth and let them pour?
She's just been raped.
No,
did it happen?
You're not giving her credit.
Did it happen?
I'd like you to speak with Dr. Memuna for instance, because you know, I'd like you to speak with Dr. Memuna for instance and analyze. Hold on a minute. You know, we'll have the other side here, and I'm going to be doing the same thing with that other side. So we'll have Dr. Memuna sit and tell you that a person going through trauma will be prepared for not take a drink. You could hold the head of an underage, now under 18, and the person would not swallow the drink.
Okay.
But we've seen people being forced in the court initiation to take poison.
Nima, people were saying the drink was to silence her from the sister who she alleged was upstairs.
No.
I told people, on my page is viral. I'm the only one covering this. I told people it's not to cover her mouth or to make her gurgle because of the person. I told people why that bitter lemon was used as a contraception.
Who are you trying to say Busola Dakolo is, and why do you think she's doing this?
Busola Dakolo is the wife of a singer. Okay, she's not a celebrity. She's now branding herself as a celebrity photographer. Okay, I haven't seen her works. This is an attempt to really use clout to become bigger. There are bigger factors in this case. There are sponsors in this case. There are elements of sponsors everywhere in this case. Journalists have been fired at Punch for the cartoon. There's a web going around Vanguard. A musician, Kiss Daniel, has sued Vanguard for $100 million. It's a long, big web. I'll do a chart later on this week of how this thing might be. And the chart has to be careful because these are allegations. You have to use words like allegedly and allegations according to the AP style book. That's the AP style book is the book that trains journalists of what words we have to use. Nigerians don't know that. So Busola is after fame. Timmy is after fame. It is clout. It is trying to defame a pastor. But defamation can be very criminal. Now, hold on. We're a country where defamation is criminal. I went to prison 3 times 6 months for a criminal defamation case. Defamation is civil in most civil countries.
Let me pause it for a quick second. If defamation is such is civil, shouldn't Pastor shouldn't Pastor Fatou go have actually filed for defamation?
Exactly.
Should Pastor Fatou not have filed for defamation that Monday morning?
No.
If indeed
the pastor needs to hear what the police has to say. This investigation is not Kemi Olunoyo. It's not Can. It's the police. The police has the final say.
And
when they say he's innocent, if he goes after her,
there's another young lady affected by this story.
Oh yes.
One of the defense of Chude and his team on this is that they took the story because it keeps happening.
Yeah.
It's not just Busola's account, but several other ladies.
Yes.
Hundreds of ladies.
Girls, many people were raped.
So why did you now go and expose a young lady who wished not to benefit from this, but share our experience as well, to help in the investigation, but not to benefit from, like you said, Busola wanted to become popular. Maybe she has an agenda to become a celebrity photographer from this story.
That's a good question. I'm going to answer that because the whole of Nigeria wants to hear that. I went to #1 on Twitter. Twitter trends don't matter to me. I trend all the time. Let me tell you, Nima, the reason why I did that. Okay? It's an ethic of journalism. In journalism, many people say you don't expose the source. You're right. We don't. The sources are very confidential. You witness a murder, you tell me, I don't mention your name. Why did I expose Kemi Olunoyo? Partly because of Chude's fault. When somebody comes to you and say they want to talk about being raped by that pastor too, okay, you cover their face, you cover their body, but you didn't cover her voice. People came to me before I even finished watching the interview. I know her voice. And I know Tumishe.
But they could be mistaken.
Wait, I know her. She's a writer. She's a public figure. She's a writer. She makes films and everything. I recognize her voice too. And I had to go and verify. So I called the COSA people. Okay? And they said, yes, she was fired because she was supposed to go to Dubai and do work, but she didn't. And she's disgruntled. But remember what Tumishe was saying. Tumishe was saying...
What if she didn't go to Dubai because she was scared of a repetition?
No, she went there.
What if your sources are wrong?
But listen, she went to Dubai. Okay? She might deny it. I know my source, and my source is
Let me take this call from Babajide. He's been holding for a while. Babajide, are you there? Hang in there, please.
Yeah, thanks for
calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I'm happy to contribute to this, but
yes.
I just want to do this because you people are in position to correct a lot of anomalies.
Okay.
I wanted to know that there are a lot of arranged obviousness in the society. And people that really have the power of the media will exploit that to do a lot of things. If certain things happened some years back, there are channels at which this thing could be that could be used. The law has not been explored. Nothing. It's just a noise. What about if this guy is innocent? Now, somebody who has not been proved to be guilty, you went to the church, raising placard, and he was forced to leave the place because there was a proper pulpit to preach the message of rape. So please, we have to address this thing.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We have very little time. Let's take a few tweets.
Okay, Omar Bolaho says, even with what Kemi just said, I could punch a lie. If she didn't know about Koza until 2 weeks ago, but she knew Biodu Fatoyibo and his sobriquet on the media as the Gucci pastor, then it brings her investigative journalism to question. Yena says, investigative journalism indeed. You must investigate both sides, so where is your objectivity? Tune says, please, what happened to the investigated facts? Let's just stop all these sentiments. And Dio says, tell her to give us the steps involved in her investigation, the people she actually investigated.
So,
I can do all that.
I'd like to hear it.
Okay. I can do all that. For example, when we're talking about Ms. Olunoyo Tumishe, who covered her face, Chude did not do something that journalists are supposed to do, blur her voice. Everybody heard her voice. I even heard her voice. She's not a source in journalism. If she was sitting down covered up and said, he raped this one, he raped that one, then cover everything. She's a source. People were saying that she was a source. She's not a source. She's claiming rape. Look at her interview. She specifically said, and when he took off his pants, he did what he had to do. Tumishe did not say he raped. Tumishe did not say the pastor raped her. He did what he had to do. What did he do? What did he do? Tumishe did not say what the pastor did. She was not raped.
Let me ask you, man. Are you in support of rape? I want you to
Never.
state it
I'm not in support of rape. I have a campaign I did in Canada. I detest sexual violence. I'm going to bring it back to Nigeria. I am not in support of rape. But if I see my children are 32, 28, and 18. If any of my boys come to me and I see Tumishe in Chude's interview saying my son raped her, I want to see the face of that woman. I want to know who that woman is. My children will be dealt with mercilessly. Okay. My kids know they're going to prison.
Right now, I have to bring in
so that's it. Really, never in support of rape. Who should be?
Because the truth is that we don't. There are two sides of this.
We can't finish this on a...
We can't finish this show. A lot of people support or believe Busola. Some don't.
Sympathy.
And it's important that you came on to help us understand why those people don't. But now we're going to talk to Busola's team and see if they're able to debunk some of your claims, and also what they're doing to ensure, if indeed she was raped, what they're doing to ensure she gets justice. It should be noted that the opinions of our guests does not reflect that of TVC Communications. That's all we can take. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a pleasant day. Bye-bye.